Hey guys, Loman02. Gonna be playing some Highlander. I'm gonna be playing with one of my favorite decks, Grixis Delve. The reason I love this deck is because one, it's very hard to play. It's not a good deck. That's kind of like the trick behind it. Like so, when I say it's not a good deck, it's not the best versus any other given deck. This hand's acceptable. This is a keep. Question becomes, do we leave up Spell Pierce on turn 1? Depends on what we're playing against. We'll see. This looks like a creature-based deck. When I see a Windswept Heath, I think creatures. But we could be wrong on that. My guess would be a turn 1 Mana Elf. I guess it could be going for a Bayou and then turn 1 discard as well. If it's that, there's a chance we just wasteland them. Especially on the play. Alright, so Trop can go both ways. Maybe a bug-based deck. Alright, Ponder. Okay, cool. I do need to open up this so I can... Chat is so weird now in MTGO. I think they changed it within the last month. It's so bizarre to me how the chat works now. I loved having this thing tagged. I guess some people don't enjoy seeing chat. And I'm not like... I don't think chat's necessary. Although, like, I mean, it is called The Gathering for a reason because it is kind of a social experience game. Doesn't shuffle. But you do need the log for stuff like this. I am not a fan of not having log for cards like Ponder, Preordain, etc. So they did not shuffle. Okay, well, I do think... I'm going to take the damage here and leave up Spell Pierce. I don't think I want to Wasteland just off the bat here. I don't really know what I'm facing. And I apologize, guys. I am drinking coffee while I record this, so if you hear me drinking, my apologies. Alright, I do think we're playing against an Oath deck here. I think it makes sense to just Spell Pierce this and just slow them down a little bit. They could Spell Pierce this back, that's fine. That's why I played this out, though. I do not have a blue card in hand, so Demonic Tutoring for... Oh, well, that was a good pickup. I think I'm just going to do this and say go. Expedition Map can be spooky because I believe they're on Oath. It can either get one half of the Dark Depths combo, so Dark Depths or Thespian Stage, or it can also get Forbidden Orchard, which makes Oath pretty good against not a creature-less deck, like, but a very light creature deck like I'm playing right now. This deck does not run a lot of creature threats. Will pretty much negate anything they play if it is negatable, and I assume it will be because they likely only have like 2 to 3 creatures in their deck. Actually, I played against this deck before. It has 3. I believe it has Primeval Titan, Emrakul, and Runescar Demon in it. Or Demon, rather. Not Demon. So, what are we going to see? If they tap out and I can negate something, I feel very well about this game because Liliana the Veil should lock it up. Liliana is just... a pounding. Okay, they do nothing here. So, I'm probably just going to play out the Wandering Fumarole. So here's one of the issues that I have with Grixis and why I think it's kind of like an inferior deck as opposed to like blue-red or... blue-red or like an aggro control deck, like a better aggro control deck, like Jeskai. The threat density is not that high, so it has to run more removal. In removal, like in the true control matchups, like which is what I'm facing now, I see this as being a control matchup. The scariest thing they could do is like Intuition into a loam package, and then just probably blow me out. But I have cards like Dismember, which Dismember is just going to be a dead card. Like I guess it is good with Liliana, because I can just pitch it into the yard and just say, hey, bye-bye Dismember. But right now, like we're playing a land still game. I'm waiting for them to tap out. They're waiting for me to tap out so they can do their powerful stuff. Unfortunately, I think their powerful stuff is going to be better than my powerful stuff because this deck, at the end of the day, is very incremental. So you have to play every turn to the max. I am going to resolve a Bob here. If they counter it, I think I'm A-okay with that. I'm going to let that happen and just leave up negate. But I'm trying to just basically get cards out of their hand, trade cards. If they have a kill spell, they'll probably wait till end step and just abrupt decay it or whatever they're going to do. or go for the Throat It. Or, because they're an Oath deck, they may want to leave it in play, which I think I'm fine with, because I could dismember my own Bob. Sorry to say, brother. Alright, there's the Intuition. Do we have a Spell Pierce here? If we do... Ouch. Spell Pierce or Spell Snare is pretty darn good here. Intuition is the spookiest card they could have played here. I really do not want to see this, because the Loam package is going to win the game. Alright, they do have a Spell Pierce. That stinks. So we're going to get Loamed. It depends. What do they get is the question. So they probably do get a Loam package. The cool thing is I can actually discard quite a few cards out of my hand and not be too upset about it. So there's two ways they can go. They can get Loam, Thespian Stage, and Dark Depths. Or they can get Loam, Raven's Crime, and X. X is like the last card. The last card is likely a land, and I tend to like Urborg in that situation because it allows you to cast more cards. What do I put in their hand? I could fade their draw step here and just put Life in the Loam in the graveyard. Give them Wasteland, or I give them Crime. I think we give them Wasteland here. And force them to draw Loam, because there's a chance when they draw Loam, they could just flip their Emrakul into the yard. This is going to be a very difficult game to win, though, with Intuition having resolved. It is like one of the most dangerous things that I could have seen happen. Much worse than Oath. And I believe they got the correct package here with getting Raven's Crime. All right, so they dump Assassin's Trophy, but they did draw Loam again, which is... It means at a minimum we can kind of fade their draw steps if they can beat the board. And right now, technically, I am ahead on board. And I do have a Tasigur. All right, they blow up my Wasteland, which means Liliana is still castable. And they can cast Loam here, but they're down a land drop for this turn. We know they have Loam in hand. They're going to have 3 additional lands in hand to include Windswept Heath, Flooded Strand, and Wasteland. Okay, Oath of Druids. Cool. Well, I kind of want to draw land here because I want to be able to Liliana plus dismember my own Bob. They tapped interestingly here, so they're basically telling me, hey, I have a counterspell, is what they're telling me, by the way they tapped, because they're not intending on casting Loam this turn unless they made a play error. We're going to Raven's Crime here, so... honestly, I think I do discard the Demonic Tutor because I can't deal with the Oath of Druids in play, so I'm going to get rid of it, and if they want to do this again, I think that's fine. Okay. What am I leery of here? The good game combo would be bad for me. I think I actually leave Negate in the yard for Snapcaster draws. And despite having Dismember, I think I'm just going to rely on Liliana. I don't mind if my opponent hits Emrakul here. But I do need to get a clock on them. That's like kind of the big limiting factor right now. So I don't want to give them time to just sit back and Wasteland me to death. The worst thing to see would be Primeval Titan, likely, or Runescar Demon. Emrakul I actually do not mind. Because Emrakul allows me to get rid of the graveyard as well. Now, alright, so they hit Dragon's Breath, which means they can get rid of my Liliana if they want to Dragon's Breath their Runescar Demon. But they are taking a pretty significant backswing here. They do have Glacial Chasm, which is not irrelevant. They're down to 29 cards. Maybe they did cut one of their 3 creatures in there. It's possible, because that's a lot of cards to mill. I don't know if they're going to want to Dragon's Breath this thing or not. But having it in the yard is actually quite relevant, because now it means that I'm going to have to kill off some of my creatures in this game in order to kind of stay relevant, if you will. So do they attach it and get rid of the Liliana? I wouldn't be shocked if they do. Could also get back Glacial Chasm. I think I'm like 90% to lose this game. There are some outers. They're not very likely. Okay, so they do not attach it. Interesting. And they take a draw step here. I mean, I guess they don't have Loam in there, so they have to take a draw step. They do play that land. They could force me to discard my Dismember. I don't really mind that, I don't think. They want a Loam. One of the issues that this hand does run into, so they're not going to kill the Liliana, which means I can actually go to card parity with them, or creature parity with them, and turn off the Oath. If I'm not mistaken. I have to really look through their graveyard. If they have... Alright, they're going to Loam. I didn't see, so they have Wasteland, Arid Mace. Alright, so they do not have the Forbidden Orchard, which is good to know. Yep, Dismember is down. You got it. Well, I think the best play here is actually attack with both. And see what they do. They take. Okay. Alright, so they don't get an Oath trigger this turn, which seems fine to me. I'm going to utilize Tasker because it's the only thing I can do right now. Alright, Wasteland to blow up, I assume, my Creeping Tar Pit. Okay, you got it. They did not get Loam back, though. This is actually a kind of an interesting game, and it may be closer than we might have thought. I think their correct play. All right, well, I'm not going to pretend I have counter magic in hand that I do not have. I don't think it behooves me. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this now and get a card back with my Tessiger. I don't know what I'll end up getting. Possibly a Dismember. We'll see. But I just can't give them infinite time to sit back on the Loam, Wasteland, Raven's Crime combo, so I need to play this as aggressively as I can. Alright, Dark Confidant's the card we get back. Cool. And they can attack and basically trade, you know, they trade Liliana for 4 damage, essentially, which I think is fine by me. Okay. Well, here I think we just end up doing this. I'm going to bottom that because I think I actually want to hit burn here. So I'm not going to play out the Bob here. I'm just going to leave them in hand at discard. I could try to get more card value off Tassiger, but I want to put them down to 3 if they do not have a kill spell. Crop Rotation would not... Well, Crop Rotation would allow them to likely hit the Emrakul and win next turn. Because, yeah, that would be enough damage, especially with the Dragon's Breath in the yard. But this is my best line, I think. This will put them in a spot where they're going to want to blow up the Creeping Tizzle, or Tar Pit. I call it Tizzle. Why not? Okay, so they Swords to Plowshare is their own dude. Now, if they hit... Depends on what they hit. If they still have If they have only Emrakul left in their deck, they're going to win. If they have Prime Time that they hit here, then I could possibly win, but they gained a lot of life. Okay, we're just dead. So that is lethal. So we'll go ahead and concede this one and go to sideboarding. I should have looked at their deck. Should have looked at what remained in their deck. This deck does have a sideboard. My opponent's does not, because I believe they're playing German Highlander, so I'm not going to use my sideboard. Although I kind of do want to pull the Nicol Bolas in just for fun. I don't think it would be an unfair card to sideboard in, because it's not like just a particular hoser. But Grixis does not tend to have a bunch of good hosers. It's a very incremental deck. What do I think of this hand? This hand is iffy. I'm going to keep this. It does want to hit land in the first couple of draw steps, but I think it's an okay hand. The burn spells and the removal just aren't that great. Kolaghan's Command, I guess, could get like a random Mox Diamond or Chrome Mox. I don't think this is a particularly great matchup for this deck. I don't think this deck has a ton of great matchups. I think its best matchups tend to be like the white aggro-based decks, which is kind of why I designed it. At the time I made this deck, it was, tuned and kind of a meta call to beat up on white weenie decks, which were very common in the metagame I was playing at the time. If this is discard, it's unfortunate. I think... Actually, I like discarding this best, because I don't think that burn spell is going to be that relevant. I actually hope they continually cast it so I can get the Gurmag online. And now I'm really hoping to hit a land drop. Although I don't mind discarding Dismember either. Okay, if this is Oath, then we're in a lot of trouble. Alright, Preordain. Well, at least I'm getting some threats. Okay. Maybe if we're lucky, they'll Ravenscrime us again. That will fuel our delve a little bit. And I think at that point, I don't know if I discard Dismember or Mystic Confluence. Probably Mystic Confluence, because Dismember could possibly buy me a turn with the Spirit tokens. Matter of fact, it may make sense just to dismember this token now. Alright, they're not going to cast it again. I'm not going to dismember it now. I think we'll keep the threat on the board. Hope to hit a land here, very much so. Alright, TT. Well, TT is a card. We will cast it. It's better to get it on the board than it is keep it in my hand. Although my ability to actually get it flipped is pretty low. We definitely want to hit land there pretty badly, though. This is not a land light deck. I believe it runs 37 or 38. And all of them produce mana. There's no Dark Depths combo or anything like that. And here, Grixis has a tough time getting after lands outside of, like, if you wanted to run Expedition Map. But I don't think the combo shines in this list as much as it does in, like, the Green X type decks or Loam style decks, which are generally Sultai based. And I don't think I have the luxury of not playing creature cards out here. I think I need to get my threats down. I need to assume an aggro control role, because I think trying to play control against this deck over a long enough time horizon is not going to benefit me. If I'm lucky, they'll like Assassin's Trophy something here. Like, that would be great for me. Kind of missed our marks on land. I think the biggest reason to keep this hand was Liliana. Alright, there's their Liliana, but I have a bunch of stuff to sacrifice to it. So I don't think they can realistically expect... Alright, they're going to force us to discard. I think it's pretty reasonable to discard the Dismember here. Now if I hit a land, I could possibly just bolt the Liliana and force them to discard a card. Okay, that is not what was in the stars, I suppose. But do I mind discarding cards? Not particularly. And I'm going to leave up Miscalc here and kind of hope we don't get hit by Wasteland. Alright, Dragon's Breath was discarded, which means that anything that does come into play is going to be very hasty. The worst thing to see would be an Oath here with another land to play around Miscalc. Now, if they just try to jam an Oath without the other land, which that is not a reality now, then that would be bad for us. I'm representing a variety of counter magic. Although what they do not know is that my counter magic is not very good in hand. It's pretty bad, actually. The one issue Grixis runs into is it really cannot deal with resolved enchantments. That's a permanent type it just does not interact well with. Okay. It's pretty easy Mystic Confluence, I think. We're just so far away from that right now that we might as well just pitch it to fuel our Gurmag Angler. Okay. Alright, they discard a Snare, which means they probably do have a significant bit of counter magic in hand. Alright, Tombstalker. Wildly interesting. I don't know if this discarding benefits them or myself more here. I have to think at this point in the game, probably me, because I'm behind on I'm behind on mana resources, and my cards are fueled. Generally, my mana is fueled by Graveyard as well. All right, so they hit more land. Now, what is the play? Well, now they can only discard with the Liliana if they are so inclined to do that. If they tap out for something, I feel very good about that. All right, Bring to Light for 5 colors. Well, do they have a Daze or a Force of Will in hand? It's hard telling, but I'm going to try to miscalc this. And if they have a Daze or a Force of Will, then I get had. Even Pact of Negation would do it at this point. All right, it gets countered. At this point, I probably just discard the Gurmag Angler. The Tombstalker is slightly better. Alright, they do nothing. Counter Squall was a very strong pickup here. That is a hard counter. We're obviously missing quite handily here, which is not good for us. Happy to be able to get rid of the Liliana, though. The rest of their hand must be very good if they're willing to just give up the Liliana. I mean, they were going to give it up anyways, I suppose, on this next turn if they couldn't deal with the board. Tap one more land. All right, there we go. It's just like I don't know what this could be. It's not Jace. Could be like a Dark Petition. Yeah, I'm feeling a Dark Petition at this point. All right, Wargate. Well, Wargate is going to get countered as well. Wargate for 2, which would be Oath. Alright, so here's a big question. We can Mystical Tutor here, but that leaves us open to Jace. The reason we would Mystical Tutor is so we can cast Gurmag Angler for 1 mana. Or we could resolve a Tombstalker, a 5/5. Actually, no, we could not resolve the Tombstalker. It requires 2 black mana. So I think what we end up doing here is we Mystical Tutor for probably a Brainstorm of all things. Brainstorm or Ponder. Or it could just be Lightning Bolt, right? I kind of like that. I don't think they want to give my thing haste. But now they're forced to kind of deal with the board. They can take 5 damage with a Toxic Deluge, or they could have Damnation in hand. T-Del or Damnation would be pretty good here. But that puts them at a Virtual 2. Actually, that puts them to dead to any land drop after the Lightning Bolt turn. And it kind of turns off their Forbidden Orchard to an extent if they're going to have to take a hit off of a creature they make with it. So I like putting the Gurmag down. If they go for a Jace here, I think that's still okay because, I mean, they can get rid of the Lightning Bolt that I looked for. Alright, they're cycling a Teleria West To find what? A Mazevith or Glacial Chasm? Glacial Chasm would make sense here. Because that kind of makes defunct my my play. So this is going to be a Glacial Chasm. Oh, Tabernacle, okay. Okay. No. I think I will pay for the Gurmag Angler. And I think I will also pay for the Thing in the Ice. Oh, not this one. No. I think they actually wanted Glacial Chasm here. No. And we know what our draw step is for the turn, because we selected it. I think I want to keep the Gurmag around because it doesn't die to Fatal Push. It doesn't die to Abrupt Decay like the Thing in the Ice does. I do want to keep the Thing in the Ice around as well, just in case they find some way to cheat a creature into play. This could be a Mazevith. Or it could be Glacial Chasm. Probably Mazevith, though. But Mazevith does not protect them from stuff like Lightning Bolt. Okay, a Maze of Ith. Okie doke. Well, what's our best draw? Probably Wasteland would just win us the game on the spot. Do I want to keep Thing in the Ice around? I don't think I do. Any land would be good here, because I'm going to tap a land to protect Thing in the Ice on my upkeep from dying to Tabernacle. It just leaves 2 threats in play. This has been an interesting game so far. Very cat and mouse. Alright, yep. Or do I? I'm going to pay 1 for the Angler. And you know what? I'm going to let the Thing in the Ice go. No. Mana Drain would be the worst here. I'm going to bolt them. See what they do. Alright, they're going to counter this. Alright, Mana Drain. Cool. Mana Drain is the worst. And I should have looked at what they did with Serum Visions. 2 cards in the bottom. Okay, so they're blind drawing here. And do they draw something relevant? Well, hard to tell. Probably just pay for these 2 and just continue to kind of keep them in the lurch here. And I actually do want to hit mana. Alright, so we'll pay for both. Another option is to hope to hit a land. I guess, no, the Creeping Tar Pit does not beat Mazevith, so we're going to just go ahead and do this. Oh, found a land, which is kind of nice. And now we're trying to get a couple hits in with the Spirit of the Labyrinth. Okay. And turn back the fish. And put them down to 4. Yeah, I think Glacial Chasm may have been the right answer over Tabernacle. I don't know. It's close. They may not be running it in their deck. Okay, nothing. Well, I like the sound of nothing. I think here we use these 2 lands to pay for it. Alright, now we do have access to Kolaghan's Command. Okay. And I'm going to wait on Kolaghan's Command. I don't think there's a race or a need to hurry to do it. Or I could do it and then try to resolve a Liliana on the next turn. I have the mana for it. I don't mind that either. Okay. Well, this looks like maybe... What is this? It could be Fact or Fiction. Okay, a bunch of blue mana. Okie doke. Five mana. Oh, this is a Mystic Confluence. This will turn off their, to an extent, it'll turn off their Forbidden Orchard. Because they're not going to want to give me a creature that can get through. Alright, they discard Gitaxian Probe. Yeah, they're at a point in the game where that needs to be done. And they get rid of the tokens they gave me and draw a card. They basically cycled their Mystic Confluence. But I can also activate the Creeping Tar Pit. So they're going to have to Wasteland the Tar Pit. Yep, makes sense. And do you have anything else relevant to do here? Okay, well, we'll pay for this. So I think it makes sense to do that. I think here we do just kind of go for it, force them to have it. They likely do. The one downside of this is if we do hit a Snapcaster Mage, yeah, it stinks, but force them to counter it, basically. And if it's double blue counter, like Counter Spell, then they have to give me a 1/1. Alright, they're going to brainstorm to try to find a counter, it appears. But just force them to continually have the answer as opposed to develop their own plan. And or tap that Forbidden Orchard. And, you know, if I draw a burn at any point in time, I can... Is it Charm to protect... Alright, is it Charm to protect it? And possibly I can eventually resolve this Liliana of the Veil. And Oath at this point is not a great answer because if they get an Oath online, it's a 2-turn clock. Essentially for me. Alright, nothing. So they must have a board sweeper like Damnation. Or they're hoping to find a board sweeper. And if they board sweep, that's okay because I can use the Liliana on the following turn to start limiting their hand size. Alright, they're looking for an answer to the board. And this is kind of what I meant by Grixis not being a great deck. Like, it's really hard to punish folks with the deck because it's so incremental and like every little piece of value counts with it. And I'm not going to say we played this expertly. It's just to me it's very fun to have to play it because it can be kind of nerve-wracking. You're never really sure you know, if your cards are going to all get there. But we'll see. I mean, they could just sweep the board. All right, see beyond. So they're looking real hard here. So they ponder. Did they shuffle with ponder? I did not see. They shouldn't have. Chooses to shuffle. They're shuffling again with See Beyond. Now there are not cards I can think of because they already made their land drop of Tundra for the turn. So Damnation doesn't do it, and Toxic Deluge does not do it as well. And I feel like we're going to go to time here. They have to kill one of my threats, I guess. There are cards. So like Path to Exile or like Swords to Plowshares would do it. Yep, I definitely want that land. I think I want an island, or do I want a swamp? I'd probably get a swamp here. Actually, because if I do get hit with Wasteland, it's worse for me. They only have one card left in hand. The question is, how much do I think Is It Charm's going to be relevant? I don't really think it's going to be, but I will protect my Liliana with the Is It Charm. Let's untap this and fetch first. Because I actually don't know what's left in my deck to get with it. It's not a lot, I don't think. All right, we'll get a Sunken Hollow here. Okay, and we'll both discard a card. I will discard my Izzet Charm. They will discard whatever remains. Mana Leak. Okie doke. So we're both off the top deck, essentially, here. And it's a question of what can they draw. They can draw an Oath at this point, and that would be pretty good. But I can draw Burn, or basically any sort of removal at any point in time. Like, not removal, but burn. Or another creature. Like, Snapcaster would be good here. Okay, nothing. I think we're just going to pay a black mana here. Yes. Well, let's see what they got. They can counter this if they want, but I'm just going to throw this thing out there. So if they don't have a counter, it's going to, resolve, and we're going to see what they've got. What have you got, my friend? Alright, discard the Chasm. I think, I guess they didn't have to play the Chasm there. Now we're forcing them to top decks. This feels pretty strong. I'm not going to attack them with a Maze of Ith in play, but now we are in a pretty good spot. They have to sweep the board this turn, so basically Damnation or card draw into Damnation. Like, their best draws are probably Treasure Cruise into Damnation or Dig Through Time into Damnation. Okay, that doesn't do anything. They're still a dead. They're going to use it to draw, I assume, because it doesn't matter if they make my creatures get -1, minus whatever nonsense. They have not played a land yet. Is Crop Rotation relevant? They haven't lost a Mana Source yet, so if I give them Fatal Push plus Crop Rotation, that's bad. So I think what we do is this, give them Fatal Push on its own, which they cannot fatally push at this point in time because they've not lost a card yet, or they haven't had a card leave the battlefield yet. Crop Rotation cannot get Glacial Chasm anymore, so I think we're in the clear. What they could get with it is, they may have like a life gain card, or they could have a Cabal Pit. That could work to keep them alive for another turn. So I assume they kept, they kept the Crop Rotation, but I don't think it does it here. Alright, so Crop Rotation into what? Pourquoi? Could be Cabal Pit. They have to Cabal Pit on my turn to kill the Vendilion Click, puts him down a land drop. And again, I'm still kind of live to top decks here. And Liliana is not insignificant either. I mean, that's still a card that could change this game. Well, not to mention, I didn't notice my opponent's clock is very low. I always forget with MTG Shark, he's not a typical Moto player. He loves playing Highlander, but he doesn't play Moto a lot, so sometimes it's a little tougher on clock. All right, there's Caracas. Which has an interesting dynamic with Vendilion Click. Okie doke. Well, let me look at my opponent's graveyard. Assassin's Trophy makes the most sense. So let's just go ahead and win this game. So play this gentleman out. And we're going to Assassin's Trophy the Maze of Ith. And just win. Okay, Assassin's Trophy. Alright, so going to game number 3. And I do think they're going to run out of time here, unfortunately. But it has been a pretty sweet set of games. I mean, that second game was very cool. Had a lot of fun playing it. Like I said, there's just not a lot of unfair things the Grixis deck can do. So, once it gets ahead, it just has to always habitually stay ahead because it really doesn't have a lot of great ways to lock up the game. Hand's fine. Not phenomenal, but fine. I think we'll probably lead off on a Mystical Tutor off of a Underground Sea that we'll fetch for to find him to Turek. because I think we do want to limit their hand size. We'll do that, and then we'll do Rise Fall and try to just do a him I win sort of play, and they're mulliganing aggressively, which is very good for us if they're on the play. He's looking for a hand that can win rapidly, is what he's looking for. If he's going down to one card, I don't think the game is is remotely winnable. I'm sorry, man. All right, so yep. All right, so that's that. Alrighty, so good game, man. I'm gonna play. Oh, is he left? Is he still around? BMCG. We'll challenge him. Oh. It was a fun game. I enjoy that style of game. I'm going to challenge BMCG here. Oh, are we playing another game? Oh, looks like we're playing another game. All right, so not Legacy, I don't think. Vintage, right? So what do I want to play here? Maybe some Miracles? We'll play Miracles. All right, so playing BMCG. Yeah, keep this. Certainly was a cool game. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play game 3. It's a bad matchup, I think. It's winnable though. I guess it's kind of it is a winnable match. It's just not great. Like Grixis is only really great against like one deck in my opinion. That's like White Weenie. It's bad against the control mirrors. It's just again, it's kind of in between being a tempo deck. I'm just gonna play Chase out here. A tempo deck like Jeskai and a control deck like Blue Red. And Blue Red is just a better control deck because it has access to stuff like Back to Basics and Blood Moon and all that nonsense. Are we gonna Path to Exile my guy? Or Swords to Plowshares him? Looks like we are. No, we're not. Alright. I don't think I would back that up with Force of Will. Force of Will in this deck that I'm playing, which is Blue-White Miracles, tends to be a card that you don't want to use. Especially this early in the game. Even though I do want Jace to stay alive, I really don't want to... Alright, I didn't want to draw that. I'm not flipping this thing this turn, so I'm going to play on a Plains. Kind of odd to play out a land before doing this, but I'm going to play on a basic here. I'm going to discard Elspeth. I'm very far away from that right now. I do think I disallow whatever my opponent plays. They're not playing anything. That's kind of like the allure of Grixis to me, though, is it always has the ability to win almost every game it plays. And I'm going to discard Gideon here. Yep, play a land out. Could play a fetch, but I'm going to wait on a fetch, I think. I would like to have Dissolve and Force of Will up on their next turn. Or Disallow, I guess. Disallow is fine, but probably use Dissolve first. I could even counter their activation of Arid Mesa. I don't think I cycle the Miscalc here. although there's an allure to it, because it would allow me to flip the Jace in the following turn. But the issue is I cannot protect the Jace without Force of Willing if they go for a kill spell after I've cycled my Miscalc on their end step. So I don't think that's the right play to cycle here. I think now we're kind of like trying to hold the baby with our Jace and keep him alive, because we're closer than it looks. I mean, if we counter one spell and then fetch with a Misty Rainforest, Jace is flipping after looting with him. And not that I have great cards in my hand or in my graveyard for Jace yet, but I think over time it's going to scale pretty well, especially with a couple more counter spells to give it a couple turns to develop. So I'm not sure what their decision cycle is here. It's probably, do I play a threat or do I kill this thing? Inquisition? I think that's actually okay. Yeah, okay. Please go on ahead. I'm not going to stop this because then they'll just play a threat out. Now, if they like play out like a Luxodon Smiter or something after this happens, well, that's kind of stinks. But all right, they take the Miscalc because it's a free card, and nothing. Well, I am going to play the land and fetch here. Question is, they have Wasteland in deck or in hand, and do I play around it? I think the answer is I do. Or don't I? I don't have to. I just ditched 2 double white cards. I don't really see a reason to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just flip my Jace here and hopefully not have it removed. I think I'm going to ditch the Opt of all things here. I could have recast the Opt or the Serum Visions, but I'm just going to go ahead and look here to try to set up my top deck. Dig Through Time is stellar. I think what we do here is top. I'm going to look at my top again, but I want to draw one of these. So I think what I want to do is this. I'm going to put Memory Lapse, Dig, Watery Grave in that order. No, I don't want to shuffle. I want to draw the land here, I think, because I don't want to expose my Dig Through Time to like Hymn to Turek or Wasteland. And if they kill my Jace here, I think I'm fine with that. I don't think I'm going to try to stop that, because I don't want to pitch my whole hand. Because if I do that, then they can play a threat, and then I'm like pretty much at a point where I want to just, pitch the Force of Will, or pitch a card to Force of Will and go down to 0 cards, and then I'm just kind of like opting to Dig Through Time. And I have pitched 2 win cons at this point in time, so I'm kind of opting to play in a way that I need to hit another win con after having removed 2 from my deck. Because this deck does not have recursion of the graveyard outside of like Snapcaster, and it's not going to recurse permanents, fortunately or unfortunately. So right now, like our primary means of winning is Chase the Mind Sculptor or Entreat the Angels. I don't think I'm in a hurry here, so I'm just going to plus my Jace. What I mean by that is I could opt to cast back, opt, Serum Visions, or Portent, but I think I'd rather leave up double Counterspell and just continue to fuel my graveyard, and or if they do nothing again, just Dig Through Time on their end step, and leave up 1 counter with Force of Will as well. They're not really developing out very rapidly, so I don't really know what they're up to. They appear to be some sort of like Abzan-based mid-range deck. Which means they likely do have access to cards like Thrun the Last Troll and Luxodon Smiter. Could also Ultimate Jace. I have seen games end with Jace's Ultimate and Hunter card, which is kind of funny to see. I'm going to dissolve this, although, I'll top that. It's fine. I'm not going to dig there because I actually kind of want to draw the Memory Lapse. I think it's a fine card to draw. But I'm not going to give them their 3/4. That card's a lot of value, even though they don't get value off it at this point in time. Cycling's fine. Not going to disallow that. Although I actually have disallowed those cards before, depending on the game state. It's very rare that you want to. Now, if they do nothing, what I'm going to start doing is looking for a win condition. Because I don't want to just sit around forever and let them draw out of this. So, these cards can go. The lands can actually go. You want to get rid of Dissolve. I already have more counters. I think at this point we can just tap a little bit. Alright, so not a great set of draws. I think we pick up the Ancestral Visions, or Vision rather, and Prohibit. Maze of Ith is also a consideration to stop any man lands. That's not a bad pickup either to stop man lands. Alright, well, we could just be ultimating the Jace. I don't know. They're certainly giving me a long time here, which tends to be very good for the blue-white deck. The longer the game goes, the more this style of deck is going to be favored. And I think as far as late-game potential goes, this deck does have probably one of the best late-game potentials. You know, it sacrifices the early game against aggressive decks to have that. Again, I could recast the Dig Through Time, but I think I'm just going to sit here on Jace and force them to do something, because this deck, like I said, is just going to get better and better as time goes on. And I'm certainly not going to just blow Wasteland here just to take them off of mana, because their mana looks pretty well set. Looks very established. So that seems foolish to me to do that. Alright, so they're going to Abrupt Decay my Jace. Well, Jace down. That's unfortunate. Can't stop that. But we still have Ancestral Visions going. Myriad Landscape is not unwelcome. How do we lose this game? Throne the Last Troll or the Smiter would be problematic here for our hand. Everything else about our hand seems pretty Millhouse, though. They must have drawn the Abrupt Decay last turn. I believe they did draw the Foothills this turn, unless they've been holding lands. Although I don't think holding lands per se behooves them. Alright, well, that was a strong pickup, too. What instant speed cards I need to worry about? If I go for the Factor Fiction on their end step, Restoration Angel is 1. Court of Calling, possibly. I mean, the hope is they just try to slam something huge, like a Dromoka or something like that. I get to just sack the Myriad Landscape, find likely some more islands. Cabal Therapy, what would they name here? I don't know. I'm willing to see, though. They do know about 2 of the cards in my hand. They know about the Force of Will, they know about the Disallow. I don't know which they will counter. But I'm willing to allow them to get one of them. Alright, Force of Will is gone. That is fine. I really don't want to tap 5 mana to do that, and I actually would rather keep my cards, because actually at this very moment, they're above me on cards by 1. That all said, like I don't think I'm behind in card advantage overall, because this Myriad Landscape is a 2 for 1. This Factor Fiction is a 3 or 2 for 1. So I don't feel horrible about that. We'll counter this gentle lady or man, I don't know, elf. You can redraw that if you'd like. Alright, well, they're going to clean up their top deck here. So we're having to fight this turn. They may have, like, 2 creatures. If they have 2 creatures, they can beat me here. We'll absorb here. I think this has one more turn, or is this the turn it comes off? Oh no, this is the turn it comes off. So that's why we had the fight, because it's not getting better, I think is their rationale. Well, up and treat. Not really a card you want to draw, per se. unless it's the very first card you draw. But having access to it means we can find Jace the Mind Sculptor or Brainstorm to do some hand manipulation to get it back in our deck. Alright, Urborg. I do want to fetch here. And it is going to be islands at this point. Well, there's Jace the Mind Sculptor to set up Entreat the Angels. I assume it's Jace or Bust. And I don't know, I think I'd probably just take Jace here. Jace is probably better than the rest. I mean, Snapcaster and Jace are the two best cards, right? Given my graveyard. Okay, we're going to sideboarding. Alright, well, I'm not sideboarding again, because we're playing German Highlander right now. Or, I'm sorry, Canadian Highlander right now. So, sideboarding would be an unfair advantage, obviously, because Canadian Highlander does not use a sideboard. They're at 101 cards. Alright. Alright. We got the 101 Dalmatians deck going on over there. I just noticed it. I don't think they have a sideboard. I think they're just tinkering with their deck and forgot to cut something. Yeah. Well, it may be good here. I don't know what it is that didn't get cut. Beast Whisperer. What does that card do? That card's not coming to mind. Huh. What is Beast Whisperer? I can look it up. I'm not going to look it up. I shouldn't have knowledge about their hand. And one of the rules in Canadian Highlander, unlike 100-card Singleton, this variety that I'm playing right now, is that you can have over 100 cards. And I believe for every 100 cards over the first 100, you get an extra certain volume of points. Alright, cool. Well, they have mana. We may just be getting overrun this game. This hand is a little more speculative, so there is that. It doesn't have double white to deal with a board, which is one problem it has. Now, if it's like a Liliana... Alright, Devoted Druid, whatever. That is fine. Devoted Druid is a combo card. I believe it combos out with that weird -1/-1 counter card. Alright, that is not a card we want to see. We kept this hoping to hit mana. Whether it was white or blue, I don't think I care that much, just to buy time to get into more white or blue mana. Alright, so their mana is unrestricted. This card will beat us. So we're going to put it back on top of their deck. And if we don't hit a land this turn, I think we just lose the game. Alright, we did not hit a land this turn. So I think we're just going to lose this game. I think this game has ended at this point. I'm not going to blow up their Gaia's Cradle. I think it puts me too far behind, because double land doesn't really do anything for me. I need to hit 3. Alright, so do they have their Gentleman again? I assume they probably do, and they probably have another creature to play with it. Okay, the Whisper of Beasts is in play. So now, I need to deal with the board, because their card engine is going to be a problem here. Well, Counterspell, not exactly what we wanted, so we're going to be ditching an Elsbeth Sun's Champion. Draw steps have not been pleasant to us this game. Alright, they're going to just... That's cool. Alright, yep, Elsbeth, and should I F6 here? Probably not, but I mean, just to retain dignity/hidden information, we'll not F6. But we're pretty doomed here. We missed 4 turns in a row, and I think kind of as expected, if we knew if we did that, this hand would lose. So, all right, well, they're not playing anything though in a minimum, which is good. All right, well, hitting land is fine, because if they do nothing again, I can just cycle to complicate. If they do something, then I can complicate or counterspell. The hope is they just... I mean, there's no way they're going to cast a Green Sun Zenith for everything they can produce mana on, so I'm probably not going to be able to complicate very easily here. Get in for 2. Okay. But they're leaving Deathrite back, which is interesting. Which either means they're preempting me casting a counterspell, or they have a really big thing to cast. But with the volume of mana they can produce with their given lands, I don't think it's very likely they're going to cycle this. Cool. Okay. Bloodghast is an interesting one. Certainly not one worth countering. The hope is here the card they drew is castable and I can get them on their double spell with Complicate. And if I don't, then I certainly have to cycle here. Not Mystic Confluence, it's Mystic Gate. Mystic Gate would probably be my best draw here. Alright, that is not. Yeesh. I think we have to shuffle this. So I think it's too crucial to hit like white mana sources in the next 3 that we've got to do it. All right, Sphinx's Rev, not white sources. I don't have force. Well, I'm going to F6 at this point. I don't think it's too much information to let them know that I don't have force. And now, outside of Mystic Confluence, we're probably dead. So the sequence of draws we need is like Mystic Confluence. Or, I'm sorry, Mystic Gate into Mystic Gate into Moat. Following turn, draw land. Resolve Oblivion Ring, remaining alive at 2 life. It's kind of where we're at. Alright, now we can just pack it in. Let's just go ahead and concede here. That was a miserable draw. Just did not hit the land we needed. Unfortunate, but we know we have to greed your hand, and we knew that it would probably lose if that was the case. But that was a pretty rough draw, our series of draw steps. This is a 40 land deck. Alright, this is a hand we'll keep. I think it's very easily keepable, especially on the play. Again, it still wants to hit lands, but we have Jace to kind of help support that. We have Impulse to support that. We got some okay-ish counter magic. We have some board control, so any early cards my opponent plays, we can deal with Oblivion Ring. And I don't think, seeing some of the cards they have in this deck, it's likely that they have a less interactive build. Because some of the creatures they have are combo-style creatures, or like engine-style cards, which tends to mean that like if you're playing Beast Whisperer, or if you're playing like Bloodghast, you tend to have more engine-style build, which generally lends itself to having less interaction. Which is, it means there's a possibility that Jace actually stays alive, or it could just get Abrupt Decayed here. We'll see. If it gets Abrupt Decayed, it gets Abrupt Decayed, but I think I'm okay with that. I mean, if it does, then we're just kind of sitting here hoping to draw counter magic. Alright, that's bad for us. But we're going to draw here. Alright, I am going to do this right now. And just look for a land card. Because it's very important that we hit our mana. Very, very important. And it puts more cards in my graveyard, which means Jace is closer to flipping. We do have an answer to the... Alright, so Grafted War Gear, okay. And here's to hoping we live through the next turn, or they don't resolve a game-ending threat. We do know at this point that the Jace the Mind Sculptor is near the bottom of our library. Alright, so smash in there for some damages. Okay, nothing. I don't think going to 14 is a significant difference. Their hand must be very land heavy. The hope is they cast multiple spells this turn and I can counter a bunch of them. To include a mana drain. And if they do absolutely nothing, then I'm just going to go for a dig through time here. Yes, I'm not going to flip Jace, but I think it's more important to use my mana efficiently. And if they kill Jace here, well, whatever. Alright, Snapcaster Merchant Scroll. So take a little more damage here. I think that is okay. Unfortunately, I am not able to resolve 2 counters this turn. So we'll take our 4 and have to like it. Okay. Interesting. It's going to be a Bloodghast. A Thoughtseize. Okay. I think I'm fine with that. My hand is quite good if I can stay alive long enough to bring it to bear. But we may not be able to. I mean, if they have like a Bloodghast here, that could be annoying. Alright, they got rid of the mana drain. Cool. But the fact that we have Snapcaster Mage still gives us kind of like another mana drain, if you will. And they know they're in a spot where they need to increase the pace of the game to win. They need to get some threats down right now. So they're going to have to play into counter magic here, I think. And if they're tapping out for something, I think that's A-okay. I did not hit mana this turn right, so I do want to find lands here. I'm going to go ahead and preordain. Looking for mana resources. I'm going to bottom. Find my land. Very nice. And say go. The converted mana cost of their hand must be quite high, or they were just trying to get the counterspell out of my hand. Restoration Angel is spooky here. Have we already spent Mystical Tutor? I don't believe we have. I'm actually not going to use this yet. Again, I'm just looking for mana here. Because the way I win this is by having more mana than they do. Top. Just continually go up on mana resources here. So, Vengevine and Bloodghast are the two cards I think I have to be the most worried about. Alright, we'll just counter this, because I don't really want to give them Bitter Blossom back. Alrighty. Could have also gone for Underground Sea there, going down to 5 to recast the Mystical Teachings, but I think this is probably better. Do I go for the combo win here? Do I have to yet? Not necessarily. I kind of want to find a way to draw into it on their turn, so I can set it up on their end step if they decide to keep on passing or playing draw go with me, like they kind of are here. And I have Maze of Ith in play, so any one haste threat is not an issue, and I have Swords to Plowshares. And the way I'm going to win, yeah, it's fine, I think. Yep. That is A-OK, I believe. And they can equip the Grafted War Gear, that's fine. So they're playing Aristocrats, which I think in some ways can be a more challenging matchup for this deck, but the cards that they need to have go right are greater than the volume of cards we need to have go right, I think. Especially once we get to this stage of the game. Probably just get Force of Will. Could Dig Through Time here. I'm at 8 cards in hand. Just going to cast this and find Vidalcan Shackles likely. Or Search. Search is actually very good too. We'll just find Search. Okay. Put a Moat into play. I think it is going to be very challenging to beat that. I don't think I need to resolve Search this turn. Getting very close to a point. I probably do just go for the win this right now. Probably go for the win. I think that's alright. Can't see how that's a problem here unless they get like a Blood Artist down. Blood Artist would be a card I would need to deal with because they have 2 sack outlets in play to include the Grafted War Gear. Well, they have 3. They have Grafted War Gear, Phyrexian Tower, and Cartel Aristocrat. So the sack outlets are online. So I'd have to counter any Blood Artist type effect. Okay. They have like Gray Merchant of Asphodel, a Gary. Eldritch Evolution is a card that I'm not going to abide here. I don't know what they're getting, but I don't care to find out. And I'd like to get 3-for-1s personally. I'm gonna bottom that. I think doesn't really matter, so I'm probably gonna fetch anyways. I think I'm okay with this card. Doesn't really stop me from doing anything, so okay. We will get Entreat here. We'll leave up access to Swords to Plowshares here. I think it makes sense to. I don't think they're going to be able to gain enough life that okay, so they get a Misty Rainforest, we get a Mystic Confluence. They're still dead in the air. And I'm representing any number of 2-mana counter spells, plus they know I have Force of Will. Protean Hulk is going to get countered here. I cannot Swords to Plowshares that in response to them sacrificing it with Phyrexian Tower or Grafted War Gear. So I think that's a must counter. And it would kill me in one turn. That's a chain. I think they call that deck actually the Sandra Bullock special, or the Sandra Bullock deck. Alright. Now let's challenge MTG Shark. I don't know why they call it that, but they do. We'll play four color shift now. Oh. What happened to my chat? Let me say good game to BMCG. This chat is bizarre. Alright, we'll leave this one. If he wants to play another one, he may still be on. But we'll play BMCG. I kind of feel like playing Sandy B. I'm going to challenge him again. I'll play with my own version of Sandy B. Yeah. So we'll play some, what is this deck called? I don't have it called Sandra Bullock in this. I think it's called... Ugh, I can't remember. Definitely not Loam God. Hulk combo. No, that's a different. That's a flash deck. I think. RecSur. I think that's what it's called. Although it's not a RecSur deck. I'm going to pull up this list real fast and just make sure I haven't chosen something like that's not what I think it is. I mean, RecSur tends to... This doesn't actually have survival in it, I don't think. Because I think at the time... So let's see. What's RecSur actually have in it? It could be... I need to check the deck. But it could be something that I'm not remembering correctly. Alright, so RecSur. This is a Protean Hulk deck. Alright, this is an older list. But it still has the Protean Hulk loop in it. This is an older list I've built, though, so, you know, we'll see how good it is. Yep, Miri's Guile, that's kind of cool. This will be a fun deck, though, to play if they want to play another one. Alrighty, unfortunately I cannot watch their game. It sounds like they're going to play, so I'll go ahead and cancel this one. I think it's going to break Moto if I try to watch it, but we'll give it... So I believe they're playing. We're gonna attempt to watch their game. I think Moto is just going to irrevocably break. And we're going to see what happens here. Yep, it broke. Alright guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video there because I cannot watch their game and commentate on it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this 100 card kind of potpourri match set. It would have been cool if we got to play our own RecSur list, but I think I have another one, so if we do get to play another one, I'll put another one up. But you got some interesting matches there. You know, I think both were pretty cool games. You had Grixis, you know, kind of get to play a grindy game. Now, it came down to clock, but we were winning the second game, so the third game was a possibility to win as well. But they had to mulligan aggressively to get a hand that won within like a minute and a half. And that second game against my opponent's standard Bullock deck with Blue-White Miracles was also kind of cool. You know, but the Miracles deck, you know, once it gets to a certain point, it's just going to be pretty much unstoppable by a mid-range deck, where you have to hit it as early and then, you know, just kind of hope to fade it getting to the late game with a significant enough life total that it can just, you know, counter everything and stop everything and then eventually win. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and put this one up, and yeah, this again is Highlander. We're playing it in a variety of manifested forms to include German Highlander and Canadian Highlander, respectively in both games, although I do think that in German Highlander, Mystical Tutor is banned, so technically my deck would have been illegal in German Highlander. It's a legal 100 card deck, but, you know, neither of the decks were so overpowered that I think that, you know, they unbalanced, either being played under German Highlander rules or Canadian Highlander rules, so I think the games are still pretty solid to watch. Alright guys, enjoy and take care now.